Hello and welcome to Four Clovers Quilting. My name is Diahn. Well, I'm going to get started on the December project, and it is I think it was project 11 that I've been following Shelley Robson of the Quilted Forest, and she drew out for December's project of the month was project number 11, I believe. And my project 11 is this Barbie quilt by Riley Blake. It's called Barbie Girl. And I am going to use this free pattern from Riley Blake Design's website. I'm going to change it up a little. I have a big panel that is this Barbie, this really huge Barbie panel. Let me just get it out to show you. It's this really big Barbie panel that I want to put in the middle somewhere. And then I have a Barbie layer cake and a bunch of yardage. So I started drawing stuff out, and you guys, my quilter's math isn't very good, and it was pretty late, and I thought, I am not getting this figured out very good. So I want to put that panel, I'm just kind of guessing like in between where this like 3x4 in the middle here is. So then I have this layer cake that I've had for quite some time. It's got all these bad boys in it. So I thought, okay, then I have yardage of these two prints. They're the same print, but in a black colorway and a white colorway. And I also have this really cute yardage of her little face. Yeah, I think it's so cute. And I'd really like to use these as cornerstones between the blocks. So fussy cutting all these little faces, I think would be super cute. But do I want the cornerstones? Because they'd have to be probably, you know, 2.5 or so, because I want that whole little face in there. And I would put tape on my ruler and draw it out so I'd get each one just right. So I don't know. Do I want to do all that? Because December's going to be gone before I know it. But you know, if I don't get it done in December, that's okay. That would be the first one I didn't get done for the year. So it's okay. Then I also have, I found this at Joann's. It's a Barbie with some glitter on it and just a tossed Barbie print. And then I found this when I was in Hamilton at Missouri Star, and it's just all kinds of Barbies. So I thought, I've got enough Barbie stuff going on. So, and I would like to do a couple of these appliques, this Barbie with the ponytail and just maybe one bee. So there's a lot going on. And I want to make this in memory of my late friend, Elena Lee. We were friends when I lived in Washington, and she passed away several years ago, and she collected Barbies. I collected Barbies, but not as hardcore as her. So this is in her memory. So this is for you, Elena. And I know she would think this is really fun, and I really want to do her justice. So I want to take my time and do a really, really fun pattern that she would have liked. But you guys, I don't know what I want to do for. I was going to just do black sashing strips and the little face for the cornerstones, okay? I thought, hey, that'll work. Well, and then I went and got just a solid to match, you know, like to match the lips, solid for the cornerstone or for the sashing. I'm like, hey, that'll work. But then a lot of these are bright pink, and I'm like, oh boy. So I'm in this a little bit of a dilemma. Do I do black? Do I do pink? Do I do white? Because we have white backgrounds, and with a white sashing, is it going to show? If I do the white cornerstones, is it going to show? So I am just kind of flailing. So I don't know what to do. And then I found a fairy frost. Should I do a fairy frost, pink fairy frost for the sashing strips? Pink is a Barbie color. Then I found this polka dot that I thought, oh, that's really fun. It's got like a silver gray. It's not metallic, but it's a gray and a black on a white. But then of course it's white again, but there's polka dots. I'm like, then I found this, and I'm like, you guys, what do I do? So I'm in a dilemma. And so I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm kind of, and I've got a baggie of white. So I'm kind of in a dilemma. I thought I would just lay out some of these layer cakes and maybe start sewing those together as soon as I figure out what I want to do for sashing and cornerstones. And then I'm just going to make my panel fit. You know, there's going to be a border around my panel, and I'm just going to make it fit. How's that sound? And I'm not going to do all the quilty math. I'm just going to do what my sashing, if I do the eyes and lips cornerstone, then that's the size I need my sashing strips, and we'll go from there. If I don't do that and just use this fabric as one of the blocks, then I'll probably do a 2.5 inch sashing and cornerstone, and it'll finish at 2. So I have some thinking to do and some fiddling to do, some decisions to make. So give me some good juju, because I don't know what I'm going to do. But in the meantime, we're going to take a look at this layer cake, okay? So I'm going to just grab this and turn you down here. And we're going to bust into this bad boy because I have got stuff everywhere. And let's just get in here. See if I can get in here. The cats are down here. Oh, Poe found a box. He jumped into a box, one of the stuff for Christmas, you know. I just throw the empty boxes down here and then I take it to recycle. So yeah, he's all tucked into an empty box. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Let's look at these. Let's bust this out. Let's just pull them all out. How about that? Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Okay, we've got this Barbie like that yardage I have. Then we have this one with Barbie stripes. More stripes. We have the pink face, excuse me. The light pink, or it's a medium pink. I think there's a lighter pink. Then we have a tossed Barbie name. And we have, yep, the lighter pink face. We've got the bubbles with the silhouette and the name. Tossed Barbie name in the medium pink. Oh, this one's fun with the all different color Barbies. And there's the face picture, or the face fabric I have the yardage for. Then I've got this one in the black and pink and gray with the bubbles. The black Barbie fabric. And then the pink and black bubble. Looks like there's about 3 of everything. Then the black and white Barbie toss, and then the Barbie striped with the name. So pink, black, white, and gray looks like is our tones. So you guys, I've got some decisions to make what I'm going to do with the cornerstones and the sashing. So I better get thinking, because it's about the 14th of December and I gotta bust this bad boy out. Once I get it figured out, it shouldn't be hard, because these big blocks just go together and I've got a massive panel in the middle. But I've got to do some figuring on what I want to do with these cornerstones and what I'm going to do with my sashing strips. So I'll be back in a flash. This is how I'm going to do the cornerstones to get them kind of all even. I'm going to do 2.5 inches, and hopefully I can get this looking kind of even. Okay, I am going to do these little faces, and I'm going to start with this one right here. And here's my, let me see, 1, 2.5. I couldn't find my 2.5 inch ruler, of course, or 2.5 inch square. So here it is. And I just put Scotch tape on here so I can kind of draw a little bit what I'm looking for. Okay, so I am going to, I want that nose on this line right here. And so I'm going to kind of get that straight. And I want to try to get these eyebrows about the same amount apart. And then I'm just going to draw in a couple of these distinguishing marks that I can match up every time I line this bad boy up. just going to do a couple things, like on the top of the lips, the eyebrows, and maybe the top of the eyes. And, you know, they're not going to be perfect, but okay, that's what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to cut here, and here, and here. Okay, then I'm going to turn this and flip it over like that. And now don't pay attention to where your lips and eyes are, because it's going to look funny. And then put the 2.5 right where 2.5 on that edge, and match those edges up, which doesn't look like I cut far enough on the top, but we're just gonna do that. And there you go. Kind of a little jiggy-jaggy, but there we go. Now I'm going to find another one. I'm going to try this guy because I think we have enough room. And I'm just going to, looks like she got a little mustache if I put it there. So I'm going to just match up the lips, the nose, and that looks pretty good. And I'm going to just do the exact same thing. And hopefully we will have them looking pretty darn close to each other. You could just eyeball it too, but I'm not very good at eyeballing. So I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to cut straight across here. And I didn't cut very good. Got a little funny part. And I'm just going to flip that over and put that 2.5 inch right on that edge. And just do a zip. And I should have two that look pretty darn close. So there we go. I'm going to do that with about a jillion of these little faces, and I will have all my cornerstones. So I'll see you in a few. Oh, I should also tell you that when you're done with this, it just peels off and you're done, and you haven't done anything harmful to your ruler. You're all set. So that's how I line it up if I'm doing special fussy cutting. I just put a piece of tape, scotch tape over it, or tape that you can see through, and then I just peel it off. So that's how I do a little fussy cutting if I need multiple of the same type of piece. See you soon. Hi guys, I am on the second to the bottom row of the full 10-inch squares going across. Okay, this is what I'm doing. This is the first 10-inch square. So I've got my little clothespins on here. It's row G, so it's my 7th row. So my first square, I'm doing a sashing strip on both sides. So I'm just going to whiz on down and show you both sides. I did measure my squares, and they are the peaks. The 10-inch is to the outside of the peaks. So let me just whiz down. Let me just get you a little bit closer. Maybe bring you around. And so let me just get started, make sure everything looks right, and get you going on this. Okay, and I'm just gonna zoom on down, and I've got everything pinned and ready, and I tried to get everything so those peaks line right up with the edge of that sashing. So I put the peaks, excuse me, I put the peaks so I can see them right against that black sashing strip. And I'm going to just butt this one right up next to it, which is my next strip, or my next 10-inch square, which is my white one. And I am going to just do some applique on this one. So I do have an applique square that I did black. And I'm not doing that because I just don't like the black with the black sashing as much. It's the same exact color that I did the sashing strips, and I'm going to change that out to the hot pink or the white. So I am going to take that one out and change that up. So I haven't decided which colors or which prints I'm going to use for the applique, but I'll get to that. I'll get to that soon enough. And I'm going to put these back in the order they were. This one's the first one. Then I'm just going to flip this over and do the second piece. if you're doing the pattern like I'm doing, the first block, or the first 10-inch square, is the only one that needs sashing on both sides. Then you'll just do the sashing strip on the right-hand side, and you will be set. So I'm just gonna buzz on down this side, and I was going to trim up all my 10-inch squares to get some of these peaked edges off, but you know what? They couldn't be trimmed. The peaked edges were, the tip of the peak was the 10 inches, so I could have trimmed them all down to 9.5, but I thought, nope, we're just going to leave it as big as we can. So I'm going to cut off this string on this side and show you how I'm going to finger press this and show you how I'm going to lay that out. Maybe a little bit. Okay, so here's I know this is my 7th row. Cut a little more, some of my more strings off. So I've got strings everywhere. So I am going to finger press so the seam allowance lays underneath the sashing strip. So I'm just putting the sashing strip on top and folding it back, and it will lay completely under the sashing strip. If your sashing strip is a different color, if it's a light color, or you want it to lay a different way, you just finger press exactly how you want. So my sashing strip is dark. I'm putting it underneath the sashing strip. And I've got crumbs everywhere because of the sashing. And again, I'm going to just lift that up and press underneath. And I'm going to just do each one. The next piece, I'm going to put the sashing strip on the right side, and next, and next, and next. Chain piece those through, break the chain, and stack them back up in the right order. And then I'm going to put, this is probably not a very good one to tell you, I'm not going to put the twosies together yet because I'm going to do the applique on this. So I'm going to just keep these separate. And then I'm going to do like 3 and 4 I'm going to put together, 4 and 5 I'm going to put together, 5 and 6 together. No, 1 and 2 are staying apart, 3 and 4 together, 5 and 6 together, and 7 and 8 are together. And then I'm going to do 4sies, you put them together, 2sies, and then 4sies. Yeah. So that is how I'm going to do it. I don't know if that made any sense until I get a full row. So let me just show you row 1. I've got that one done. Then I can maybe explain a little bit better what I'm doing. That's maybe better. So here is row 1. And let's get you up here. I'm just babbling to myself. It's freezing out. It's 2 degrees above zero. Ray went out and shoveled a little bit. Let's get this lamp out of the way. So here's my first row. So I've got the sashing strip, 10-inch square, and then we're just doing sashing, square, all the way across, and we're going to end with a sashing. So that's how that bad boy goes. So I have 8 blocks and 9 sashing strips. And then when we get down to where the panel's going to fit in, which we're going to have 2 full rows like this, then we're going to have on rows 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6, we're going to have partial rows. I've got this kind of all kitty wampus. Let's put A on top. So rows, this is row 1, this is row 2, and I've got a couple of things I need to do with that because I've got some appliques in there. In row C, which is row 3, here's my 2 with my strip, my block, my strip, and my strip, my block, strip, block, strip. And then I'm going to have the panel, and then I'm going to start up again with the strip, the block, the strip, the panel, the strip. I hope that makes sense. So it's just like 2 partial strip blocks. So it's just going to be 2 blocks, 3 sashings is how those are going to look. And then I'm going to fit that panel in the middle of that. We hope. So that is how that's going to look. So then I'm going to get the rest of these last two done. I'm going to get the applique done, and then I'm going to figure out how to fit that panel in. I'm going to get that ironed up and measured and see what I need to do to fit that bad boy in. I did not trim it to size. I didn't do any of that yet. I wanted to see how big these bad boys turned out and get all that done, and then I'm going to make the panel fit. Whether it be with extra borders, trim it down, add the borders, I'm just going to do that to make it fit what I've already done. So fingers crossed, guys, that I can get that to work. And I'm going to work on these last two rows, figure out what I want to do for applique, and I will be back in a flash. See you soon. Hi, guys. I have got all my long sashing strips done. They look like this, and there are 9 cornerstones with these little faces and 8 sashing strips. So the cornerstones are 2.5 square, and then my sashing strips are 2.5 by 10. So all the way across, and I've got all 6 of those done. And I have to do, I believe, 1, 2, I think 4 more that are going to be, it's going to be cornerstone, sashing, cornerstone, sashing, cornerstone. So we'll have 3 cornerstones and 2 sashing strips. So I cut a jillion of these the other night sitting in the chair, and probably if I did this again, I wouldn't fussy cut these little faces. I'm hoping it'll add some fun instead of just heartache for cutting all these dang things. I hope it'll look cute and fun, and I hope it'll be okay, because I just hope it'll add some fun to it and not just been a silly maneuver. So fingers crossed that it's going to add a little fun to it and not just have been a lot of cutting for not. Hopefully it'll add some visual impact. So I'm just going to stick this little cornerstone on the edge here, and I am just going to chain piece a few of these through here, and I can get that picked up. We're just going to do right sides together, and I'm just going to do a few of them through here. And Happy New Year, everybody. It is New Year's Day today, and back to work tomorrow on Friday, and then 2 days off, Saturday, Sunday, and then back to work, back to the old grind. But yeah, this December project is running a little bit behind, but you know, that's okay. It will be fine. And this one I cut a little funky, so I'm just going to pretend that it doesn't wing off on the end. So we're going to just do this, and I'm going to just cut this off here and show you how this is going to work. So we'll go like that, throw my little strip up there, and I am going to press everything towards the sashing and get that little fuzz out of there. And I'm going to put a cornerstone at the beginning and the end of the very first one. So I'm just going to run this through one more time, and then we'll add another couple on there, and I'll show you how that works. Let me just get that lined up. Sometimes it's really hard to see the black. I've got all kinds of lights shining down, but sometimes it's hard to see that black very good. So and again, we're going to finger press towards the black, at least on this one. So I have a cornerstone on each side, and then I'm going to finger press this way and add that right on to this one. slide that bad boy right under, and we'll do that. Let's just see if I can get that lined up. There we go. And one more, and we'll have the little short sashing strip done. And we're going to have two on each side, I believe. I hope I calculated that right. And then we're going to get these ready to go. Oh, no, we don't need that. We don't need that one. Oops. This is how it will look. It'll be 1, 2, 3. We're going to just have 2 blocks, 2 10-inch squares. So it'll be 1, 2, 3 cornerstones. So this is what it will be on each side of the panel. So we're going to have 2, is that right? 1, 2. No, I need 3 rows, so I need 6 of these. My scribble here, I have 1, 2, 3 rows. 1, 2, 3. Is that correct? 1, 2, 1. Yeah, on the top of the 10-inch squares, under the first row of 10-inch squares, and under the second row of 10-inch squares, and on the top under this next row and under the next row. So there'll be 6 full rows all the way across. Then we'll have on the A, B, the bottom of C, the bottom of D, the bottom of E. So 1, 2, 3 on each side. It'll be cornerstone, sashing, cornerstone, sashing, cornerstone. So it'll be under C, under D, under E, and then, okay. So we'll need 6 just like this, with the 3 cornerstones and 2 sashing strips. So I need 6 of these. And then we'll figure out how to get the panel to fit. So I'll be back once I get all of these bad boys done, and I'll show you how to do the applique. I am getting ready to do the applique template. I've already, it's kind of a scribble fest, looks like on here, but when you cut it out, you'll cut it out nice and smooth, right? So I've traced around the B template, and now I'm going to do the Barbie template. So I'm going to turn on my little light box, and I'm going to put the Barbie template down. And I'm using this Heat and Bond. It's just Heat and Bond. I just got this as a sample in one of my kits. So I'm going to just lay this down, and I probably can only get one out of this little sheet. So I'm just going to try to squeeze it on here as close as I can get it. And I'm going to just roughly draw around this, and I am not going to worry about how precise it is because I'm going to try to cut it smooth. So I'm just using a pencil, and I'm just going to draw around here. As precisely, doesn't have to be super precise. Just cut it, just so you can cut it precise. And we're drawing on the paper side, and the bumpy side, which is the glue, is face down. How did I just wiggle that? Nope. And I'm just kind of whizzing around this. I'm just trying to whiz through this kind of quick. And here we go. That got a little chunky. There we go. Nobody's going to know if your lines match or not. So there we go. There we go. So that is my little drawing. Maybe you can see it. And I'm just going to cut out kind of close around that, and I'm going to put that glue side down, bumpy side down, the paper side's up. I'm going to press that down onto my fabric that I want as the applique fabric. I'm going to press that down according to the directions. And this one says, press and hold hot iron for 2 seconds onto your fabric. And then I'm going to peel this off, and it will be the glue on there. Then when you peel that, you'll peel off this other part, and you're going to have it so you can flip it over, and there you go. actually, that's not right. You'll cut around this. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm got all goofed up. So you'll cut around that, and then you'll just have this Barbie shape. That's where your nice smooth lines will come in. And then you will peel off this paper. Then you'll peel this paper off, and you'll have this perfect template facing this way. So then you will glue, this will be your fabric, right on this side will be your fabric. So she'll be facing this way. And then underneath this, when you peel off the paper, there'll be a shiny side, and that's what you will press on. You'll press your iron on, and I think it says on this piece to hold for 6 seconds on your fabric square where you want your applique, done. And then you'll sew around it with a zigzag or a straight line, or however you want, blanket stitch, however you want that on there. So that should be interesting when you're going around her little face. So we'll see how I can do that. And I'm going to try to get this on there, and I will try to show you that too. So I'm going to go find the fabric that I want to put her little face on. So I will be back in a flash. Okay, I've got my pieces ready. And since these are solids, there's not a right or wrong side, which makes it really easy because I've not really done this before. So you are going to want to put, everything is going to be backwards. So you're going to want to put these on the wrong side. So it sounds a little goofy. And I'm going to just cut this extra off because I don't want all this stuck to this black extra. And I'm going to just cut this little extra off here because I don't want it to risk sticking it to my ironing board. That would be not so good. And then this little bit here. I should have had that cut off first. So that's just going in the garbage. So I'm sticking this like that. And bumpy side down, guys. So here we go. I'm just going to hold that on there. Fingers crossed this will adhere how it's supposed to. And it will be beautiful. Okay. It says to let it cool, so I'm going to put this on the black. Let's just scooch it down just a smidge. Scoot that up a little bit. Put that on the black, the backwards B. Okay. I'm going to have 3 of the Barbie heads and 1 of the bee. So let's see what we have here. It says let that cool, so it does appear to be adhered. So I'm just going to let that cool. So I'm just going to shut this off, and I'm going to let this cool. Okay, that has cooled off. I'm going to see if I can cut this kind of smooth. I'm going to just cut this extra off so I don't have that all dangling there. So let's get that out of the way. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try to cut this kind of smooth. So I'm just going to kind of round it as I go. Try to cut it in one curved motion. And if I'm not on the line, nobody's ever going to know, right? I'm going to turn this light on so I can see a little better. Ah, that's more amazing. Let's just see if that's going to work. Yeah, I'm not cutting the most perfect, but that's all right. Let's just try to keep that nice and smooth. Just curve that around as you go. I do have a little bit of shadowing, but let's just try to move it a little bit into the light a little more. Okay. And I'll drop that little straight down a little bit and just curve that around. Nobody knows exactly what this template looks like, so you can just kind of make it your own. Nobody knows exactly if you're on the line or not. If it's straight or if it's got a curve, nobody really knows. There we go. And I'm going to just round this edge here a little bit. Okay, it's kind of got a little pointy on it. And then to get this inside out of here, I'm just going to pinch this a little bit and just clip like that. And I'm going to try to go in and do that. And you could probably always use a little smaller scissor if you needed to. Like maybe for this, I'll use my little scissor. And use whatever scissor you're more comfortable with. And I'm just going to curve around like so. And hopefully this will be a nice smooth curve. We're just going to do our best. It's okay. And this kind of comes up and around to a point. And just kind of bring this around and merge with the point or the piece you already did. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. I might, no, I'm just going to try with this. I'm going to try with this scissor. I'm just going to try it. I'm going to cut into this corner here so I can start at that corner. And let's just see if I can get this to work. Okay, guys, here we go. Let's go around. Oop. Kind of got clumsy fingers here. Try to keep a nice smooth curve. I think it's all right. Get to that corner and might have to take another little clip. Yeah, I think that'll be all right. Now, let's see if I can get this. Let's just see if I can get this little circle with these big scissors. If you can get them with the big scissors, you got it made. Okay. Let's just keep going. Just a little bit more. Sorry guys, I know this is probably kind of boring, but let's just get around this curve. And there we go. Now I'm going to turn it over and see if we got anything that looks kind of lumpy bumpy. And I'm going to put it down. I'm just going to flip this over and see if we have anything that looks like it's a little goofy. I don't think it looks too bad. There might be a little something here that's a little loop-de-loo, or here, or maybe here. But you know, all in all, it doesn't look too bad. And we are going to go over that with a little bit of with a stitch. So I might take my little pointy scissors and get in there and make sure some of this is a little more smooth. But there we go. And I will probably use my little scissors to get in there and clean up around her face and stuff when that comes the time. And I'll go in there and do a little cleanup on that. Like I see this little nub here. So I'll go in and make sure that that looks nice. And then all we have to do is pull this off. And we see that shiny, and that's the glue. And we position that where we need it on our block, iron that down, and we are done with that applique, except for the stitching around it. So I will be back when this is a little more tidy, but that is how that works. So I will see you when I'm ready to stitch on this bad boy. Okay, I have everything cut out on her face except for, or her head applique except for her face. I'm just going to go in with my little tiny scissors and just straighten up her chin and the little lip pieces, just because they are so tiny. And I'm just going to clip off and then just go in this way and clip and go in this way and clip, because they are teeny. And then go down this way and clip. So I hope that will help a little bit, because those are small. Oh, and I missed one little piece. There we go. And there she is. So there we have the ponytail. So she's all done. So I've got one bee and one ponytail. And I think I need to do one more pink ponytail, and I will do another black ponytail. So I have one bee and I'll have 3 ponytails for applique. So I will be back. Okay guys, this is my row 2, block 2, which is going to be one of my solid pieces. So I'm just taking this, let's scooch it down a little bit. I'm just taking this block and I'm folding it in half on the back side, just so I can see where that block starts and ends with the sashing strip. So I'm just folding it on itself, and I'm just pressing the middle so I can just see where exactly the middle is. So I'm just kind of giving it a good finger press. And it's this one, I've got creases all over it, looks like. So I'm putting the black one on there. So I'm just going to roll this a little bit. I thought this would happen when I'm trying to do it on camera. And can I get this off? Yep, there we go. Okay, and it should just come right off. And there we go. And the shiny part is the glue, so that's what we want. And I've got cat hair on there, so I am just going to kind of lay that in the middle, or where I think it's kind of the middle. And because we have a 1/4 inch, and there'll be a 1/4 inch over here, because this seam allowance is already taken up. So I might just scoot it a tiny bit more that way, and it's going to be fine. So if it's not perfectly in the middle, I'm not going to worry about it. It's going to be fine. So I am just going to call that good. And I think I might just stick a pin in there so it's kind of in the same spot when I get to the iron. I'll pull that before I get to the iron. And I'm going to do the same with this one over here. I did have a black piece, but I didn't like this is how I had one black piece, and then I had the same black piece for the sashing. I didn't like that look. So I changed it out with a white piece. So I have to put this sashing on. So this is my row 2 piece number 7. And since I don't have the sashing on there, I'm just going to fold it in half and fold it in half again, just so I can get a little idea of where the center is, and just give it a little press. And I'm going to do the same thing and just peel this back. And if you can't get it to start, you can always run a pin down it to score it, and that should open that paper up. And I'm just going to gently pull that off. I've not done really much applique. Oh, have I really done any? So here we go. And I'm going to just lay that bad boy down. And I'm going to just scoot that a little bit that way. And maybe down a smidge, just because we're going to have a 1/4 inch here and a 1/4 inch here. And I think that that's going to be close enough for my liking. And I'm going to just stick a pin here until I get to the ironing board. And I'm also going to stick this over here just so I know what I'm doing, which row it is, and the sashing has to go on this side. I'm going to go press that down, like it said, about 6 seconds with a dry iron. Press, press, press. And I will be back, and I'm going to stitch around those, and we'll be done with the applique on these 2 blocks. Okay, I'm going to show you how I'm going to applicate this. I am not the best at this. I have only done one other project that I appliqued. So I am just doing straight line stitching all the way around. I have done all the other pieces and they're not perfect. Here's my bee, and I just did black thread and I just tried to keep it kind of close around the edge. So can you see it okay? It's not great under this light, but there we go. There's my bee. It's got strings on it. Cat fuzz, of course. So I'm just going to drop my needle. And I'm just trying to keep the edge of my presser foot along the edge of this, the inside edge. So I'm going to start with a back stitch. And I'm just going to go kind of slow, and I'm going to keep my needle in the down position, and I'm going to just use my hand wheel and just kind of get one more stitch if I can get to that corner. And I'm going to just go around, and I'm just going to wing it. Here we go. I'll go around this corner here, around this curve. And you might have to stop and just do a little readjusting. We're just gonna stop and just adjust. And like I said, it just needs to hold it down. I'm not very consistent around the edge, but it's gonna be fine. Do one more stitch, and then we're just gonna come around here, and I'm just going to kind of do a little like stitch into this lip here. It's like one stitch in with the hand wheel, just one stitch into this lip, and then I'm just one stitch in, and then I'm just going to get my presser foot to go up, and then I'm just going to do one stitch out of the lip. Maybe one more stitch. There we go. Not very good, but that's okay. And then one stitch onto the other lip, and then around this nose, which probably not super good, but it's okay. So I tried to match as close as I could, and I'm going to just drop this needle in ever so close. I'm going to try to raise that up, and I'm going to just move that needle back just a smidge. I don't want it to pop off the edge. There. I'm going to turn that. It's probably not the best, but you know, it's going to be fine. We're just going to come around this corner. That's the hardest part. It's not very good. It's okay. It'll be fine. It will be fine. And we're just going to come down to this tip, and I'm going to call it good. I'm gonna, can I get one more little tiny bit right there? I'm just gonna try to put that needle down right in that, just do a little adjustment there. I'm gonna turn that while my needle's down. There, and then just do a little adjusting. Out of all the colors the thread mom had, she didn't have this hot pink. That was kind of crazy. So I went to my embroidery threads and I found an embroidery thread. So I put that in my bobbin just in case in case my tension wasn't perfect. I didn't want any shadowing coming up. So I did it in the bobbin and in my top thread. And so a little twirl. And my edges where the thread is skinny and wide, but you know, it's going to be fine. It is not a competition quilt. It is just a for fun quilt. So here we go. We can go a little quicker down this edge. And there are fusibles that this is the So Light. Heat and Bond, or Heat and Bond Light, I guess it's called. The Heat and Bond Strong or Heavy, or there's one that you don't sew through. It'll gum up your needle, and that's one that you use for like wall hangings or things that you aren't going to sew or perhaps not wash as much. And this one is the Heat and Bond Light, and you can sew through it, and so that's the one I used, obviously, since I am sewing it. And it's the light one, so you can sew through that one, so that's the one I used. And since most likely you are going to wash a quilt, whereas I thought it'd be so much easier not to have to sew around your applique. So if you want to do something like that on a wall hanging that you're maybe not going to launder or spot wash, or just throw it in the dryer and fluff it up a little bit, you can use Heat and Bond, the Heat and Bond Heavy. I don't know if that's what it's called. Heat and Bond Firm, the non-sewable. And I think I went off the rails a little bit on that piece, but we'll see how it looks. And then you just don't sew it. You don't sew it, and you're all set. So, and you just glue it down, and you're done. I like that idea. I'm not very good at sewing around, but it'll be all right. It'll be all right. Yeah, it looks like I'm a little close on the edge there. I might have to do a little ripping out and redoing, but you know, it's all right. I'm gonna just give that a little turn, and okay. Don't look too close, guys, because I am thick and thin on these edges, but you know, it'll be all right. It's okay. We're not experts when we're first starting on this stuff. And I'm going to I'm almost to the end, and then I'm going to backstitch right over where I started, and we'll be done. Let's see what that looks like. Cut those strings, cut this one underneath here where my bobbin is. And so it's not the best, and I see I'm probably going to rip this out here. I don't know if you can see that I've kind of went off, so I'm probably going to rip from here to here, and then I'll backstitch and so you can see where I've gone off the edge. So I'll probably redo that part, but she's all done around the edge, and I'm going to call it done, except for that little part. So there we go. And yeah, it's a little wobbly. It's kind of thick here and it's a little thin there, but it's going to be okay. I'm just going to rip this out, and this has a little wing ding there, but it's going to be fine. And if anybody's that close, it's going to be fine. So I'm going to just rip this little bit out, redo that, and call it good. And then I'll be back to put the last 2 rows together and then put the panel in. I just ripped this out from about here to here. So I'm just going to go in and show you how I'm going to do that again. I'm just going to start up here and backstitch, join that where my thread is, and just, okay, where am I going here? Okay, and I'm just going to follow that around. And let's see if I can get that a little bit better. Okay. Get that curve just a little bit better. And join back up with that stitch and just backstitch right there. So hopefully that will look a smidge better. And cut my extra strings off, and I few shaggies that are hanging down. So there, hopefully it looks a little bit better and I'm not hanging onto the white. So there we go. Hopefully you can see it a little bit better where I'm not, let's fold that in half, where I haven't stitched onto the white. So there we go. Hopefully that looks a little bit better and I'll be back in a flash. As you can see, I finally have the December quilt top of Barbie finished behind me. It was really fun and I got it all to work out. I did lose a little bit of video. Ugh. And I didn't realize it until I had it all put together. But let me move the camera up a little bit and let me show you what I did. Okay, I did these 2 rows and I did the bottom 2 rows that are just like this. It is 7 blocks across. I did have 8 and it was just too big. So I chunked off the last block. So I have 7 rows across with 10-inch squares, and I just took the layer cake, and then I did a 2.5-inch strip, and I fussy cut all these little faces here. So I have 7 rows. I found the middle here, fuzzes, and then I did, let's see, can you see over here? And then I did 4 rows of 10-inch squares with the sashing and cornerstones. So I did 4 rows here, 4 rows by 2, and I did that on each side. So then I didn't measure my panel. I didn't do any of that. I did the 2 rows. I did the 2 rows, and I did the 2 rows of 2 by 4. Okay, I had that all done. Then I went in and I measured the long part on the top, my 2 sides, and then I split the difference. So, yeah, I made it work, and it worked the first time. I was surprised and in awe. I didn't feel very good, and I said, Ray, come help me. So we laid it all out, and I said, and that's when I decided to take off that last row, because it just would have been really fat, really chunky rows here, and I thought I could do 2 rows. I can do a white and a pink, and I thought, nope, I'm not going to do that. When I took off that last row, basically these 3 rows worked. These 3 rows worked out almost perfect for the panel to fit. I just needed to put a coping strip on the top and the bottom of the panel, which when I pan through, you'll see that I put a pink on the top and the bottom of the panel to get it to fit. Otherwise, it worked out perfectly. I can't believe that it worked so well. And so I did 3 of these little Barbie heads. I did the black on the pink. I did the pink on the white. All right. Oh my goodness, right here. And then I did a pink on the white down here. And then I did the B for the Barbie down on the very bottom corner. So it was fun. I'm glad I did it. It's huge. It is, let me grab my note here. It is 81.5 by 95. So I'm really glad I didn't do that 8th border or 8th row. Just, it's big. So I made my top and my 2 rows, put them together, made my 2 bottom rows, so I have 2 pieces exactly the same, and I did these 2 by 4s with all the sashings. I fit that panel right in the middle, pieced it in there, and I made this, so I had these 2 pieces, I had this piece in the middle with the panel and the 2 rows, had a chunk here, and then I put it together in 3 rows. So it worked like a dream. My head blew off because I can't believe it worked so slick. Quilt math never works that easy, and it wasn't hard math. It just worked. So anyway, she's done. Way late. I still have to get my 12 projects for this year, which I haven't even looked. So maybe I'll just do 11. Maybe January is just going to be my wrap-up year, my wrap-up month. So I don't know, guys. I'm going to really work hard at getting 12 projects done, getting January project going. But I feel like I'm just flailing a little bit, and I'm really behind, and I've just not felt very good. So January is just, it's just coming with a vengeance, and I'm just not ready yet. But hey, by the way, happy 2026. I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas, and I hope your New Year is going to be fantastic, and I hope it's been good so far. We are about, what are we today? I think the 12th of January, so we're already almost half done, and I'm just getting December's project out. So, you guys, I'm a little late. So anyway, I'm going to get out of the way and let you take a closer peek, and you'll see all of my stuff from here down too. So I'll be back in a flash. Let me get out of the way and you can see a little bit more. I'll be right back. Okay guys, here's a little closer look at the Barbie quilt. And see all those little cornerstones? They're all those little tiny faces. It was really fun to put those there. And I hope that the fussy cutting was worth the effort, because that took a little while. And don't look too close on my applique, but it was pretty fun. So here we go. And these have Barbie written sideways. I don't know if you can see them very good, but it's kind of fun. There's another applique. And I did do the faces in the white. I had that as a yardage piece, and I didn't do any. They were also in the layer cake, and I didn't do the layer cake. I didn't do any of the layer cake pieces in the white. I just did them in the light pink and the medium pink. So I don't have those. And there's the bee that I did an applique for. And there's my other little Barbie head in the pink on the white. So on my panel, you can see the pink stripe on the bottom and the pink stripe on the top. That is those are my two coping strips to get that panel to fit. So there you go, guys. That is the quilt. And there's Poe. He's over here. Hi, Poe. There he is. He's sitting there by my note and my phone case. Hi, bud. Oh, he's getting shy. Hi, Poe. Oh, he's like, don't look. So there you go, guys. Thanks again. This is Barbie. Thank you guys so much for coming along on this Barbie mashup quilt top journey with me today, where I did this Riley, I think it was a Riley Blake pattern. And I just kind of popped that Barbie panel right in the middle here. And it was fun. Got to do a little applique, which I haven't done very much of. And then I did all these fussy cut faces. One night, I think I cut 60 of them, even though I did probably some of those were on I think there are 9 of them on the piece I cut off. So, you know, I'll put them on the back or something if I ever get a back done. But, you know, it was really fun and it worked out really slick. I was so surprised that the quilt math worked out really well. Ray came down and he goes, "Are you still working on that?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I have one more seam left." And he goes, "One?" And I said, "Yeah, it actually worked." And he's like, "Oh my gosh." So I held it up and he goes, "That looks awesome." And I said, "I just have to put those last 2 rows, the last 2 rows were pieced together." I said, just have to put it to the main body and it's done. So my cornerstones don't match perfect, but I'm calling it a win. So I'm going to wrap this bad boy up. Hopefully I'll get this out soon. And you guys stick with me. I hope to get my 2026 projects I hope to get done this year. So you guys, I hope you quilt along with me, grab some projects. Let's do some fun stuff this year. And I want to get a Facebook group going so we can, because you can't post your pictures on YouTube. And I want to see what everybody's doing, and you can drop some chats in. Other people can look at your stuff. I want to get a Facebook group going. So, excuse me, so everybody can see what you're doing. I don't care if you're following along with stuff I do. You know, if you want to, cool. But if you're doing like the group, like if you're Shelly Robson from Quilted Forest picks out number 5, if you're working on a project number 5, I want to see what you're doing. So it would be so fun if there was a place where we could see, everybody could see what you're working on. And if you're just working on something, you want to throw it on there, I'd love to see it. And I'm sure other people would too. So I want to do that. Are you guys keen on that? What do you think of it? Let me know down below. Anyway, this is probably going to be a long video, so I'm going to wrap it up. So you guys, thank you again so much for hanging out with me. We're coming up on year number 3. And I just love that you guys take some time out of your day to hang out with me. It just makes my world. So thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, share. I just love it when you comment. I just love that you hang out with me. So thanks again. This is Diahn at 4 Clovers Quilting. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.